Savannah Chrisley's boyfriend, Nick Kerdiles, is throwing it back on Instagram. Read on to get the details of Nick's internet rewind. Chrisley adjacent celeb, Nick Kerdiles, got a few giggles on Instagram over the weekend when he posted a story of himself, alone in his car, enjoying some old tunes. The Millennials video had a caption banner across the top that read "Throwing It Back." The video showed the 27-year-old real estate agent enjoying some alone time in his Jeep. Dressed comfy casual in a mauve-colored t-shirt and white ball cap, Nick blasted out to some of his favorite millennial tunes, throwing his head back and singing along. Maybe, for a few minutes, Nick wanted to throw it back to his younger self. After all, things have been kind of stressful on the relationship front over the last year. So, since we're throwing it back to times gone by, we thought it would be fun to throw it back to a post that got a lot of unexpected attention. Back in July, Nick took a deep-sea fishing trip and caught the highlights in photos and videos, later sharing them on Instagram. The reality personality definitely had a big catch that day. In fact, Nick Kerdiles, with the help of several other stocky men, revealed in an actual shark. The aquatic nemesis was pictured on the boat deck as the men surrounding it caught their breath from the struggle. Don't worry, no fishies were harmed in the making of this Instagram content. The trip was all catch and release. The shark was quickly let go back into the depths. Guess you could say he threw it back. When Nick posted his photos and videos on Instagram, people were quite impressed by the shark. The ladies, however, were more impressed by Nick Kerdiles' bulgy back muscles. Nope. We can't make this stuff up, folks. In the comments section of the post, fans came in droves to compliment Savannah Chrisley's boyfriend on his protruding delts and quiver-inducing lat muscles. "Are we going to talk about that back?" asked one curious fan. "Oh man, all your muscles are in play with something like that," added another honestly. "It really seems like Nick Kerdiles loved to throw it back. After all, he recently just threw it back to being Savannah Chrisley's boyfriend again. Who knows what he will throw back next?" Under the soft glow of twilight, Nick finds himself in a vintage record store. Sunlight filters through dusty windows, casting a golden haze over rows of vinyl. He lifts a classic album, perhaps a Beatles pressing or an early Fleetwood Mac, letting the weight of it settle in his hands. He closes his eyes, feeling the grooves under his fingertips, unlocking memories tethered to the crackle of the needle and soulful melodies drifting into the air. In these moments, he reconnects with roots laid long ago, before fame and expectations reshaped the tapestry of his days too. The power of a well-worn pair of jeans. There is an element of comfort and familiarity that pervades Nick's wardrobe. A pair of well-worn jeans that have seen impromptu road trips, late-night conversations, and quiet mornings. The faded denim whispers stories of sun-drenched journeys down backcountry roads, of laughter echoing through open windows, of gas stations in rural towns late at night. Rods of sunlight sneak into the cuffed hems. Each crease is a chapter, a fragment of who he was before every public appearance, a tactile connection to authenticity. 3. Polaroids and preservation. He sits cross-legged on the floor among boxes of Polaroids, their colored borders a time capsule of treasured moments. Pictures of life before the spotlight, before headlines, snapshots of barbecues with friends, beach days chasing the horizon, candid moments of hand-holding. By carefully thumbing through each image, he brings a recollection to the surface. The texture of sand between toes, the taste of a cold drink at dusk, unguarded laughter that once came naturally. The photos aren't just memories. They're lifelines to a version of himself, unfiltered and true. 4. A bicycle ride into yesteryear. The low hum of bicycle tires on asphalt and the rhythmic click of gears is therapeutic. Nick sets off down a winding road lined by ancient oaks, golden light filtering through the leaves. Headphones abandoned in the bag, he reconnects to his own heartbeat, unaccompanied by autopilot playlists or algorithms. The wind brushes his face, a reminder of every ounce of freedom he once felt. With each rotation of the pedals, he distances himself from curated narratives and moves closer to simple truths beneath layers of expectation. 5. Rewriting old recipe, a kitchen worn by laughter and memories, Nick pulls out an old recipe card, written in a delicate, unsteady script. He decides to recreate it, sharpening his senses to each ingredient. The grainy texture of flour, the slow pour of honey, the fragrance of vanilla. As he stirs the batter, like a fragment of history. Sunday afternoons in Grandma's kitchen. The first cookie he ever baked. The feeling of approaching the oven with anticipation. When the oven timer chimes, he inhales the aroma, not as a celebrity's partner, but as someone chasing the simple joy of creation. 6. Reclaiming the outdoors, Nick sets out on a solo camping mission to the same campground where he once learned to navigate the night sky. Setting up his tent under a canopy of stars, he recalls the constellations etched into his childhood mind: Orion, Cassiopeia, the Dippers. In the soft crackle of the campfire, he hears echoes of youthful campfire songs and stories, years before glitz and glamour. Stripped of any audience, just him and the wilderness, he rediscovers the peace of silence and the depth of solitude. 7. The echo of old games. There's a dusty radio in the corner of his attic, turned on to no station. With a slight twist, it crackles to life, and he's transported back to nights playing backyard games and throwing footballs under incandescent porch lights. There's rhythm in the nostalgia. The way adrenaline surged chasing a loose ball, the scent of fresh-cut grass, and the echo of roaring laughter. As memories reel and technicolor, he's reminded of innocence preserved in motion. 8. Brushstrokes of Memorian, a quiet corner of his home. Nick discovers a canvas and paints still wet. He splashes colors across the unprimed canvas, bold strokes of sun yellow, serene swaths of ocean blue. The act is meditative, rhythmic. Each brushstroke echoes a heartbeat. Without conscious direction, the painting morphs into a landscape: rolling hills at dusk, layered skies before sunrise. It's not just art. It's memory and emotion, whispering the contours of identity that fame threatens to blur. 9. Rediscovering a childhood toy. Opening a cedar chest in the basement, he pulls out a weathered toy, a miniature football bat, or a well-loved board game, paint chipped by excitement. He cradles it, feeling the rough edges, the glossy surfaces worn smooth by eager grasp. He remembers the first triumphant moment, the sound of dice colliding, the pure thrill of childhood victory. He closes his eyes and inhales the musk of aged plastic, of a life uncluttered by camera's tin. The familiar path home. Drive down a narrow lane leads Nick back to the house he grew up in. The yard is smaller now. The crepe myrtle at the corner has grown taller. He leans on the gate and takes it all in: sun-scorched lawn, cracked walkway, trees sculpted by decades of seasonal wind. It's grounding, a reminder that some roots don't bend with pressure, they deepen. He breathes the air that nurtured him, soaking in the soil's dry sweetness and reclaiming the foundation of who he was before public narratives. 11. An unexpected conversation with a stranger in a sunlit cafe. Nick takes a seat at a small corner table. No cameras, no expectations. Just him and a stranger passing through. The stranger begins telling a story, a childhood memory, a funny anecdote involving a dog named Hopper, a lesson learned the hard way. Nick listens. He offers a gentle nod of understanding. In their shared humanity, he rediscovers the power of genuine connection, how fleeting conversations can plant new seeds of compassion in tired soil. 12. Reflections in a game of catch a football arcs through the air, spinning in slow motion. Nick launches it to no one in particular. The pass breaks through with crisp tension, tracing a path between trees. He catches it. He throws it back again and again. Each repetition is unhurried, deliberate. There's no cheering crowd, no broadcast. There's only air, leather, and muscle action that pulsed when he first picked up a football, craving nothing more than the perfect spiral. 13. Climbing childhood trees. At the edge of a yard, a tall oak stands sentinel. Beneath its sprawling branches, Nick plants his feet and reaches for the first limb. Ascending carefully, he feels the bark's texture beneath his palms, the roughness aligning with his heartbeat. Each step suspends him between earth and sky, and he recalls climbing as a child, imagining he could touch the clouds. The height offers perspective, a panoramic view of past self, and present self meeting in midair 14. Penning letters to selfie sits at a wooden desk cluttered with stationery, blank sheets waiting for messages to the future. Nick scratches out words, reflections, gratitude, questions, hopes. He writes to the person he'll be 1 year from now. What to remember, what to cherish. He writes to the person he was 1 year ago, thanking past self for perseverance, courage, and authenticity. The act is intimate, therapeutic, a tangible bridge between versions of himself, mapped in pen strokes, waiting to be discovered by time.